Hey guys, it's me, Maddie, and today we're gonna be doing something a little bit different. And by a little bit different, I mean a lot different. And I know I say we're gonna be doing something different in like every single video, and that's because lately I've been doing a lot of different things. So, my bad for having the same intro for the past, like, 3-4 videos. Suck it up. You'll be okay. Anyway, today we're gonna be reading some fanfics off of Quotev. I picked 3. I'm not gonna read all of them because I don't even think I have enough time to read all of them. But we're gonna read some Honkai Star Rail fanfics. I'm excited. I don't really know what to expect, especially from Quotev. Not my fanfiction website of choice, but if I do another one of these, maybe I'll pick somewhere different, like fanfiction.net or Wattpad. Oh yeah, maybe, we'll see. But the first one that we're going to be reading is called 6 Shooter. It's a Boot Hill X reader. I'm going to put the link in the description, and of course I'm going to credit the author for writing this beautiful piece of literature, even though I have not read a single word yet. I'm sure it's gonna be great. I have so much respect for people that write fanfics. As someone who's written a couple themselves, it takes a lot of work to write a fanfiction. So this goes out to all the fanfiction authors that I'm going to be reading from today, and just in general, like, kudos to you for putting in the work for those who are not as creative as they think they are. You do a lot for the community. With that being said, we're going to read this fanfiction. So, you're going to notice the camera's here, the fanfiction's here. So, if I'm not looking at you, I just explained to you why. So, let's get into it. So this fanfiction has 16 chapters. It's 74 pages long. It's by ClockworkWings, so shout out you. You're probably never going to see this, but regardless, I'm going to link your story in the description. How many chapters should we read, guys? Or how many pages? Should we I'll read like 2 chapters. I'll give each story 2 chapters. Unless they don't go by chapters, then we'll figure it out. Anyway, let's read the description. He would no longer live for himself. Even though he did not care what happened to himself, someone else did. Oh my gosh. AO3. We love AO3. We could also check out that one. You know. Oh, this was written before Boot Hill was released. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm excited then. I'm more excited. I was excited before, but now I'm more excited. Okay, we have this fabulous picture of Boot Hill. Great start. I love the picture. Okay. Ouch. Guys, what was that? Can I do my best Boot Hill impression? Wait, hold on. No, I can't do it. I can't even remember what his voice sounds like. I can't remember what his voice sounds like. Well, this is awkward. Boot Hill. I know he's got that little twang. I can do a little twang. I just gotta make my voice deeper, right? So I don't know what I'm so embarrassed about. Like, I haven't done more embarrassing things. Let me see. Well, I'd reckon that we got ourselves an imposter. Guys, Sign me up. Future voice actress here. When's the next casting call? Just saying. I will try my best, guys. I'm sorry. I'm not good with male voices. I'm better with female voices. But anyway. Ouch. Boot Hill's Yelp had your name. Wait. I'm gonna call them your name. Because that's what I do when I read other fanfics. Your name is a separate entity from myself, because sometimes your name does things I would never do. So therefore, your name deserves to be their own person. I know, guys, I'm crazy. I get it. I get it. Anyway, let's actually read the story. Let's read the story. Boot Hill's Yelp had your name retract the tools that were currently digging into a cavity on his metal arm. She scoffed and gave him a small glare. Sit still then, you idiot. I'm trying, darling. Those adorable troublemakers busted me up good. Can't sit comfy. The cyborg cowboy's broken synesthesia beacon censored him as he shifted on the table he laid on, tilting his head to look at her. His long white locks, tinged with inky black, dangled from the edges of the table. Shaking her head, your name then dove back in to continue her work on his arm, careful of the wires. Taught him a lesson, though. He continued with a chuckle while your name remained silent. Boot Hill's gaze settled on her gloved hands, watching as she treated him like he was made of glass. So far, I'm loving the detail. I just had to say that. I'll go back to reading now. Boot Hill still had the sense of touch. However, it wasn't as strong as it was when he was human. His body was about 90% metal and wires, save for his head. His model was advanced, although there were signs of wear and tear, hence the deep scars near his abdomen. A sly smile spread across his lips, showing off his sharp teeth. Your name stuck out her tongue in focus and connected some loose wiring. It was quite fascinating how focused she could get. There we go. That should do it, she said, closing up the panel and screwing it shut. Boot Hill sat up and flexed his arm, the motors and servos whirring as he tested out his newly repaired arm. Works like a charm. Much obliged, darling. The Galaxy Ranger's grin widened as he spun the golden revolver chamber on his arm before throwing it back with a flick. Your name put away her tools and grabbed his leather jacket and black hat. She always found it amusing that he opted to wear such a short jacket. But then again, his whole body was pretty much made of metal. She was pretty sure he'd be kicked out of most establishments if it weren't for that fact. She presented his clothing to him, and he began to put them on. Your name moved her toolbox to the shelf in the workshop, a sigh escaping her lips. You should really be more careful, you know. Boot Hill let out a chuckle, placing his hat on his head. Oh, you growing soft on me? She rolled her eyes in response, crossing her arms. Her demeanor earned another laugh from him. I ain't going anywhere. Been through worse and you fixed worse. He moved closer to her, his spurs jingling with each step. He tilted his head, taking note of her body language. You're not usually this quiet. Something on your mind? Or are you that worried about little old me? Your name pursed her lips before turning to the tablet set up on the workbench. She slid off her thick gloves and tapped away at the holographic surface. Within a few moments, a picture of the Galaxy Ranger himself was projected with a large sum of money underneath. 720.5 million credits. What did you do this time to make it so high? She pointed at him with a hand on her hip. She poked him in the chest. Other bounty hunters are going to be chomping at the bit to get their hands on you. He grabbed her hand and that lopsided toothy grin remained. Let 'em try. All they're going to get is a bullet between the eyes. Besides, the only one I'll let put their hands on me is you. That last part made your name huff. and yanked down the ranger's hat, pulling her hand out of his. "Hey, you're insufferable. And yet you still tolerate me," he pointed out, fixing his hat. "Tell you what, I'll pay you twice as much next time. Heck, triple. Is the least I can do for fixing up such a high-profile outlaw." Why did I say it like that? Oh my gosh, guys. "About time I got a raise," Your Name joked. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go work on some other upgrades for you. If you want to make yourself useful, you can go pick up some parts in the city. I'll send you the list." Your Name plopped down in her chair, spinning to face the tablet. She sent him the information, and his phone buzzed on the table. He picked up his red phone, scanning the list's contents. "Making use of that money already, eh?" Okay. Mini break. I didn't realize how long these chapters would be, so I might take this a little. I low-key might come back and read this in my free time, because I'm like, it's pretty good. Like, I love reading fanfics, especially, like, just, like, gauge the, like, different quality of some of them. Like, some of them are, like, obviously like, better than others, but there's different reasons for that. Like, I've noticed a lot of, like, Genshin and Honkai fanfics are written from people that don't speak English as their first language. And I'm always surprised to see just how good their English is. They're always like, "I'm so sorry if my English is bad. Like, please correct me." And then I'll read the fanfic and I'm like, "Girl, you write better than me. Like, what?" But yeah, no, I'm always so pleasantly surprised by the quality of fanfics that I read, and I read a lot. They fill a hole. You guys know. I know you read them too, but no, I actually am loving this so far. It's a very, I mean, I can't really, I think it's unique. I think it's a unique, like, little thing, especially since it was written prior to his release. That's pretty good. You don't get to see that, like, every day, like, people writing fanfics leading up to the character actually being in the game. Like, what would you even know what to write about? Like, what? I think this is great. I say all this to say I think this is great. So, yeah. I'm gonna keep going now. We're almost done with the page, so I guess after I finish this page, I'll give my final thoughts, and then we'll move on to the next one. So yeah. Boot Hill had left the workshop to acquire the requested parts. He was gone for a good hour, searching through the many shops in the city. The planet of Vinda 9 was a large planet covered in a massive single city. It was Your Name's home planet, and she lived on the outskirts of the city. There were floating cars parked on the sides of the streets, and the buildings were narrow and cramped. The residents of the planet would occasionally give him a questioning glance before carrying on. The silver-haired cowboy didn't care how much the parts cost. He knew Your Name would make good use of them, and it would benefit him anyways. It didn't take long to find them all. I did read that right. And soon he was on his way back to her workshop. As he walked, he couldn't help but to think about just how lonely it must be to sit alone at the edge of town, only keeping machines as company. His visits were every few weeks, whether it was routine maintenance or repairs. Of course, he would visit just to say hello and check up on her. Every interaction between the two either devolved in Boot Hill telling stories of his escapades, or the two playfully insulting each other as Your Name showed off her new blueprints. After a while of walking, he made it back to the workshop, using his own key she had gifted him to open the door. It was quiet inside, save for the soft hum of some electronics coming from the workshop. He entered the space to see his mechanic slouched over her desktop, cheeks smushed against her forearm she was using as a pillow. Her expression was peaceful as snores echoed in the room. Blue light illuminated her face in the dark. Boot Hill's lips pressed together in a thin, closed-lip smile. He set aside the parts quietly, then moved over to her sleeping form. His robotic hands gently slid under her legs and back, picking her up. He quietly carried her over to the couch and lay her down, brushing a stray hair out of her face. Reaching to his star-like medallion that was keeping his cape pinned to his jacket, he unclasped it and draped the cape on her. "You'll work too hard, sweetheart," he murmured, letting her rest as he curiously and rather noisily swiped the tablet from the workbench and began to analyze the blueprints. His cybernetic gray and red eyes scanned its contents and he hummed, "You're trying to fix my beacon." Oh, that's the end of the page. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Oh, he remembered when he first made that request, when it was tampered with. It was the first thing that kept his foul language in check, and it annoyed him every time he wanted to speak his mind. Your name's attempts at fixing it never seemed to work, but he could tell she wouldn't give up so easily. After a bit of reading of her notes, he placed the tablet back on the workbench before sinking into the kind of stiff couch cushions. He leaned back and pulled his hat down over his face, deciding to take a nap as well. One of the reasons for his visit wasn't just for repairs. It was a question. Boot Hill was an observant person. Nothing could escape those cybernetically enhanced eyes of his. Not the deteriorating conditions of her workshop, the lack of chatter from her, or even the dark circles that were beginning to show under her. What color are her eyes? Quick. Brown. Good. Under her brown eyes. Something was up, and he was going to get to the bottom of it. The ranger's body was put in a low-powered mode as he closed his eyes. Tomorrow morning, he'd pry the answer out of her. He listened to her snores and slowly but surely was lulled to sleep. But that darkness of slumber only conjured dreams of the past and be anything but restful. A reminder of his start at a second shot at life. And cut. Wow. Okay, guys. My final thoughts on chapter 1. That was really good. I almost want to not read the other ones because I want to finish this one, guys. Is that crazy to say? I want to read the rest. It's really good. I'm wow, guys. That's I want to know more. I want to read more. And I'm going to read this regardless of whether you guys want me to read it to you or not. So if you like what you hear, let me know. And, maybe I'll read more for you. Wait. Oh, okay. I was confused. I was the bar went back up. Yeah. If you like what you hear or see and you want me to read the rest of this fanfic to you, I will more than gladly do that. But yeah, final thoughts. That was really good. I love that. The first chapter was it had just enough to keep me intrigued, but also not too much to give away any of the premises or any of what their relationship could possibly be at the moment. But yeah, so far I really like it. I think it's great. Damn, I wish I had Boot Hill because I really want Boot Hill. He's so oh my god, I want him so bad. But yeah, no, I like it a lot so far. On to the next one. Okay, so this next one is only 2 chapters. It's 9 pages. So honestly, we might have enough time for the last one in question. But this is called Fate, and it is a Honkai Star Rail X Reader one-shot and the author's headcanons, which is exciting. I'm always so intrigued to see what other people have as their headcanons for certain characters, because sometimes they're really funny, they're really silly, they're oh, I didn't even think of that. What do you mean Don Hung probably likes Boba? Oh, actually, wait, that might be a canon. I'm pretty sure March does. That was a really bad example. Sorry, guys. But you get what I'm trying to say. And then sometimes they're actually really in depth. Wow, I'm surprised this isn't actually canon. Stuff like that. They're always just I'm always so excited to see what people do with these characters that have already been established. to some extent, you can obviously try and make them they won't be your own, but you can always play around with the concept of who they are and just kind of mold them enough to make them have like your own personal traits or qualities or little niches or quirks. And I think that's cool. I love that. I think that's great. That's why I think headcanons are important for communities. You should never be afraid to explore the possibility of like these established characters doing other things that no one would have ever thought of, unless like it's canon that they would never do this thing. But that's different. But yeah, I think headcanons bring a lot of people together, and we should respect other people's, opinions or little like ideas. But in the same token, we shouldn't like try and force our headcanons on other people, because they're headcanons for a reason. Anyway, enough of that tangent. Let's read. The description. Oh, well, actually, this is by Republic of Avalon, so I'm gonna link this in the description as well. The description reads, an individual's fate shouldn't be limited to a single path ordained by heaven. Across the universe, your path crosses with individuals ranging between normal people and the eons themselves. Oh, wow. That's audacious. I love that. From the Astral Express crew to the Stellaron hunters, who will catch your eye and stick around in your life, and more importantly, in your heart. Ooh, I like that. That like, I was like, oh my. I'm ready. And the first one is Don Hung. Guys, my man, Don Hung, my OG man. I'm so excited. I'm sorry. I'll calm down. Oh, the author gave a little note. He said, hello, my peeps, both new and returning. Shout out me, I'm new. Welcome to this book. I hope my works are to your liking. I'm sure it's gonna be great. I have like full confidence. But the title of this one shot is called The World Is So Loud. I felt that. That's so real. It's so real sometimes. Like, see, already this one shot super relatable. Sorry guys. I will stop. I will stop mumbling and rap. I almost said rapping. I'll stop rambling. My bad. It was not Don Hung's scene to be wandering the streets of the most high-end fashion district, leaving each door with bags filled with clothes expensive enough to buy a house with. But he did promise you a date to anywhere you desired, and unfortunately, you chose a bustling city full of life. Don Hung was tired of the crowds of people shoving each other, more than a handful bumping against him, some apologizing, some not. But seeing you dance from one store to another, radiating joy was enough for him. Some might have found your excitement for shopping infantile and childish, almost as much as March, but in his eyes, you were far from that. Thank the eons you were not like March. Preach! Preach! See, this is why he's my man. This is why he's my man, guys. He's my... Anyway. He is pulled out of his musings by your voice. He looks up and finds you in a well-fitted suit, the lapels adorned with multicolored diamonds and gems. You look ravishing, but if only you didn't seem so concerned. Dawn, are you alright? You've been spacing out a lot today. Do you want to head back? Maybe cut the date short if you're feeling unwell? You crouch in front of the armchair he was currently sitting in, getting at the same eye level. He immediately shakes his head. Oh, shit, guys. I can't do a Dong Hung voice. No. Oh, what? His, like, how do I... No. It's quite all right. I just feel like my regular voice is like at the same God. Sorry, guys. I feel like his voice is at the same, like, range as mine, so it's, like, weird. But, like, it's a little bit deeper, but I can't get that little bit deeper. No, it's quite alright. I'm a bit overwhelmed by the crowd is all. I'm fine. He'll just have to sound like a man. I'll try. I'm trying, guys. I wasn't meant to do deep voices. Gosh. But that doesn't lessen your frown. Quite the opposite, in fact. Don, that's not good. I can cut the shopping short. He goes to interrupt you, but you silence him by putting your hands over his. The clothes won't up and run away, you know. They'll be here when I return the next time. The tag with the words last chance sale. Sorry, that's not funny. Hanging from the blazer would say otherwise, but he knows it's not the time for such a debate. He shakes his head. No, you should finish your business here. I don't mind waiting. He brushes some imaginary dust off the gems, running his finger over them. The suit is beautiful and it fits you well. You should buy it if you like it. You press your lips in a thin line and you both know that means you're unhappy with this, but you return to shopping. However, it doesn't escape him how often you start glancing to him. As you pay and wait for the cashier to put the items in the bag, you announce, "Let's go to a cafe next, yes? I'm done with the stores I want to check out today." That is a blatant lie. He remembers all the stores you wanted to see, which could be summed up as the entire street. You weren't even past half of the street, but he knew why you were doing this. I am not a child. Your name. There's no need to coddle me. I can handle the rest of the trip, he mutters so only you can hear. But I don't want you to handle it, Don. You cup his face, which startles him a bit. I want you to enjoy it, and if you are not enjoying it, then it's for nothing. You lightly brush your lips over his cheek, making his face flush with color. Come, there's this nice cafe I found a few weeks ago. It's a bit farther away, but the menu is amazing, and has such a cozy atmosphere, too. The dazzling smile on your face is enough for him to stop worrying. He doesn't press the issue further as he follows you, most of the bags in his hand. You bring him to a far quieter side of town with few people sprinkled on the streets. Old folks with their grandchildren, parents taking their babies for a stroll, couples of all ages and others going to and fro between the quiet street and the shopping district. The atmosphere is nice, pleasant. Pastel colors combined with fairy lights and fake trees give the interior a fantasy, almost mystical feel. He's certain March would rave about this place, about all the lights and how she could work different camera angles perfect for moody photography, and she'd be right. He watches you as you maneuver your way between the chairs and tables, politely thanking those who make way before motioning for him to follow. Okay, very quick. I actually love how they bring up March, but in a way where it's like they establish the platonic nature of their relationship. Like, it's like yeah, we're friends, and I see my friend being very similar to you, and it doesn't go overboard to be like making it a problem for the reader, which I love that. Actually, I love when authors do that. They just add little moments where it's like it opens up the world a little, so that it's not just the two characters in question that the story is supposed to be about. It, makes it a little more realistic and well-rounded. Like, yeah, realistically, sometimes I would be reminded of one of my friends if I'm out with someone specifically in an intimate setting. Like, my friends would love this scenery. Like, I love that. It sets that, like, very, very natural tone. Like, this is just, like, it's a natural flow of occurrences. Like, this is something that could easily happen IRL. And I love that. I love that little, just a little note. Anyway, back to reading. I lost my place, guys. Oh, there it is. He watches you and cannot help but think how ethereal you look, like a beautiful mirage in the dry desert of his social circle in life. But he will never voice these thoughts. He won't tell you how beautiful you are to him, how your voice, soft like silk and sweet like honey, soothes any pain and worry, how your warm, delicate embrace makes him melt and feel funny inside. Of course not. How could he? You'd find it silly, surely. As you sit in the booth together, a waiter comes and hands you your menus. With the soft "thank you," you start reading. They have this really good triple hot chocolate, which somehow they managed to keep separate until you swirl it yourself. So cool. Oh, and there's this cloud cake, which is like a macaron, but the cream is fluffy. Did I just say fluffy? Oh my god. But the cream is fluffy, like cotton candy, and the shell is both soft and crunchy. Because over it, they paint a layer of melted caramel, which solidifies by the time it gets to you. You look up from your menu and your face flushes a lovely shade of pink. I'm so sorry. I was rambling again, wasn't I? She's so real! Your name is so relatable. Oh my gosh. That's my your name right there. Anyway, I don't mind, Don Hung assures. You give such vivid descriptions that I find myself interested in the foods as well. He puts his head on his palm. Anything else you think I should try? Well, you clear your throat. For example, they have a new star-themed section. Here, you turn your menu, presenting the items as you talk of them. The Bellbog Ice Cream Tower, which is precisely what the name suggests, an ice cream tower shaped like Clockwork Fort. Its colors are given by the ice cream flavors, which you may choose. Another one is the Eurillo 6. Yes, wait. Am I reading that right? Is that Roman numeral? Is this story gaslighting me right now? Is it Eurillo 4 or Eurillo 6? It's Eurillo 6, right? I'm pretty sure it is. I just think the Roman numeral is off. Because isn't 6 is VI, I think. Oh, God. I'm going to double check after this. If so, I'm sure it's an honest mistake. Roman numerals are a little confusing sometimes. Anyway, another one is the Eurillo 6 chocolate bomb. It's a chocolate sphere with ice cream and jam inside, which they melt by pouring hot milk over. He hums. Anything more bitter? I think that was supposed to say hum. You hum and flip through the pages a bit before turning the menu back to him. The Ciencio Lo Fu Dark Mint? That's a handful. The Ciencio Lo Fu Dark Mint? It's a mini sculpture in dark chocolate. You decide how dark. Of the flagship with mint syrup on the inside. Oh, there's also... Your voice starts to fade as he zones out. Don Hung hums once more. He's more enraptured by your descriptions and the excitement you present each item with. It sounds so beautiful, like a melody meant for his ears alone. He lets you talk. He would never dare interrupt you about everything you desire. Don Hung feels his eyes growing heavy at the sound of your soothing voice. Oh, how beautiful and sweet it is. He only snaps out of his enchantment when you wave a hand in front of his eyes. Don Hung? Astral Express to Don Hung, do you copy? With the blink, he is brought back, a blush stretching across his shoulders. Wait. Oh, that's interesting. A blush stretching across his shoulders and neck as he shyly looks away. Yes, I heard you. You give him a sympathetic smile, but do not press any further. He always appreciated that. You were sensible enough not to tease or pester him about his mind wandering off as he gave you the most lovesick of looks. You are kind and sweet. Oh, wait, that's, oh, dang it, I do this every time. So, have you decided then? No, not yet. He hums, looking over the menu again, as he hears you stifle a laugh. Yes, this was a good date, truly. Snap, snap, snap. That was so good. I love that. It's simple, it's short and sweet, it's cute. It's like the descriptions were chef's kiss. I loved it. I was like, oh, I was in the moment. Like I was, ooh, I love that. And then the Eurilla 6 broke the immersion for me, but that's because I'm a little silly. I could have easily like overlooked it. Well, I did the first time, but then I hesitated and I like looked over it again. I'm like, is it actually Eurilla 6 or Eurilla? And it's stuff like that happens all the time. I'm not even like, it's whatever. But yeah, that one was really good too. I loved that. I just love Don Hung, guys. I love how they portrayed Don Hung, like his cool demeanor and like his little like how he gets flustered from time to time, how he's so shy with some things. Like I loved it. I'm just God, my heart. Anyway, moving on. Our last story. Definitely we won't have time to read too much, but oh, it's not too long. Okay. So, you know the whole spiel by now. I'm going to put a link to the story in the description. Credit to the authors, all of these wonderful authors that wrote these 3 stories. I love them. I'm definitely going to be reading them in my free time, unless you guys want me to read to you again. So yeah, let's jump into it. This is To the Starlight Husband by Katrina Impact. Great name. Love that. The description is: the companion book that pairs well with my other title, To the Starlight Father. This time, various one-shots featuring the HSR men as husbands will debut in this book. Please enjoy. Anyway, this first one is Lone Star Until You with Argenti. Guys, I love Argenti. Spoiler for what's to come. If you end up even watching this video and you make it this far, I do plan on building Argenti soon. There you go. That's your little look ahead, your little sneak peek. I'm gonna be building Argenti because I just love him so much. But yeah, I'm gonna stop rambling so much. Okay. Last story, last singular chapter. Let's do it. Argenti knew the feeling of loneliness a little too well. It was as intimate with him as a lover. But as a knight of beauty, his only mission was to find Adrilla. Adrilla? Yeah, Adrilla. The eon he so faithfully followed. So being alone was expected. Normal. At least he thought it was. When one comes across something beautiful, how should one react? Sit there, stare, and take it in, looking akin to a gaping fish? Contemplate the fleeting moment? Leave behind a calling card to tell the person or thing that one enjoyed the moment? He certainly left calling cards of his own whenever he went, always leaving behind a trail of rose petals wherever he stepped. He didn't know how to react to this particular moment, so much so he still dreamed of it. The moment he'd locked eyes with another follower of the beauty, one of the members of Adrilla's eternal choir. They were few and far between, as rare as finding a fellow knight. There were no words sufficient enough to capture the way she looked at him. All of them were too inadequate. He could compare her to Adrilla, but Adrilla would take it. But would Adrilla take it as an insult? He did not know. He recalled the words he'd finally spoken as he offered her a rose with a flick of his wrist, bowing his head lest he stutter. How do I do Argenti's voice again? How do I do Argenti? Fair maiden, serving Adrilla, fair lady of the choir, it is an honor to meet such an esteemed figure of our ranks. I am Argenti, a knight of beauty, and I offer this rose in greeting. Pray tell me, what part of the choir do you sing? I think that was pretty okay. It was nothing more than a whisper, a silken breeze fluttering past his ears as her quiet voice coaxed him, tempted him, begged him to just look up. He gave in, glancing upwards as she took the rose from his hand, her response a soft sigh. I'm the soprano. That was bad. Sorry, guys. I'm not redoing it, though. Yes, that fit her. He could hear it, the way her voice could soar high into the clouds, flying on the wings of a morning dove to brush the clouds with the very tips of the wing. Yes, he could hear it. Even if all he had heard was a whisper, he swore his heart came to a stop, time pausing as he took her in. There was a soft, delicate, yet strong look about her. Delicate like a deer, yet there was an unyielding power hidden underneath doe eyes. A star, yes, a star. Tiny and unassuming from afar, yet still there. But up close, stars were forces to be reckoned with as they burned and burned for billions of years, flaring out with solar storms that could decimate unsuspecting planets that circled. Oh, this is Argentina. Okay. I know of the struggles that come with traveling alone. Please, fair soprano, allow me to join you in our diligent search for a drilla. There is not much Argentine knew about the choir. They are as mysterious as the infamous Galaxy Rangers. Whilst the choir was powerful, individual members were weak alone, nothing more than whispers carried away by the wind. Their abilities relied on the beauty and melodic harmonics, or on the protection provided by others. He could provide it, though he wished she'd look at him a little longer, a little more than fleeting glances. For once, his unwavering resolve to remain alone until he found Adrilla stood shaken, finding his heart betraying him as he longed for the woman he followed, the ever-so-diligent guard. Tonight they camped on a planet with rolling mountains, all sloping towards a sandy shoreline and an ocean as calm as a dozing child. Argenti stared up at the stars, trying to count them. He knew full well he never could, but there must have been something endearing in trying, right? The sand shuffled as the soprano settled beside him, nothing more than a figure cloaked in white. He didn't even know what color her hair was, not with it hidden underneath her headpiece, but he liked to think her hair was a shade of black, like a raven. Iridescent and shiny, blues and purples and blacks settled in the most gentle of waves. That's what he liked to imagine her having. Perhaps it fell to her hips, not that he could tell. The headpiece trailed down to the ground, almost as if she were a bride instead of the soprano. His chest ached and throbbed, stinging as if a thorny rose had pierced him. He found himself turning away from the stars to look at her instead, laying there with her arms folded over her chest as if she were preparing for burial. Breathing became difficult as he stared. His breath caught in his throat. His chest burned and ached as he reached a hand toward her to brush away a non-existent strand of hair. He froze just before his fingers could touch her cheek, his heart pounding against his ribcage. He wanted to touch her, even if it was just her perfectly round cheek. Why did his chest hurt so much? Please move your hand. You're in my personal space, came the whisper. The binds she'd somehow tied around his heart seemed to strangle it, his heart throbbing in agony as he withdrew his hand, forcing it to his side as he dug his fingers into the sand. Why did he hurt so much? Good night, Night of Beauty. It took him a few moments to reply in kind, turning his head away from her. She didn't need to see him weep. Okay, quick pause. Damn! Argenti's down bad. But, like, oh my god, the descriptors melting me. Like, I am enraptured. I'm like, like, the progression too, I'm just, These are some good-ass stories, guys. Like, what? What? Anyway, continuing. When he awoke, he found a few rose petals scattered around where he lay. It wasn't an uncommon sight for him, but there was just something slightly off. No, wait. Upon closer inspection, these were normal, but somehow his chest still hurt. Had sleeping not eased the ache? He twisted his body to look for the soprano, letting out a relieved sigh at finding her, still fast asleep. Yet his chest ached more when he looked at her. Why did he hurt so much? Surely love did not hurt like this. Tales had spun love to be something beautiful, something to be treasured. There was beauty in love. Surely Adrilla hadn't cursed him. Not the lovely, merciful, kind, and gentle Adrilla. She should be overjoyed at him finding something beautiful and wanting it, right? But why did it hurt so much? That was a nice little anecdote. I love that. I love that little thing. Arr, arr. I'm eating this up, guys. The two traveled from planet to planet, stepping in on occasion to rescue an unfortunate soul or just to temporarily rest and patch up their ships before setting off again. Argenti left more and more calling cards behind as they went, these petals always appearing whenever he woke up from slumber or had a coughing fit from unpleasant air or an unpleasant taste in his mouth. His heart ached as he tried to figure out how to profess his adoration for the soprano. Oh, we got some strike-throughs. Why won't she look at me? Yet all he could do was admire her from afar, even if she was nothing but a woman clothed in pure white, like the fair and distant moon. She was just like the moon, so close yet so far. She rarely spoke, her voice silken and inviting, a lure to unsuspecting prey. He did not mind. Oh, why won't she speak more than a few words? He was being driven with madness as he offered rose after rose, each one bearing more thorns than the last, his fingers bleeding, blending into the blood-red petals he left behind everywhere he went. His chest ached more and more, breathing becoming difficult as the air grew more and more filthy, not enough to fill his lungs. His heart stung, even when she did on occasion take the roses he offered. Could love kill a person? Argenti was no better than a sinner pining after a temptation, blind to the wrongs of his actions, seeing only the end goal. But he had good intentions. Yes, oh yes he did. But the path to hell is paved with good intentions. Destruction and ruin a natural of consequence. A losing sight of what the original goal was. Why did he join the soprano again? Yes, that's right. She was helpless, alone, powerless against foes who sought to take away what little beauty remained in the universe. As a knight of beauty, it was his duty to protect the things that belonged to Adrilla. He could not help but stare as she tended to children, giving them bread to eat as they clung to her white skirts. How dare they defile such holy garments with their dirty hands? Oh my. Sorry. Oh goodness. His chest full and heavy with envy, she gazed upon all but him, sparing him nothing but fleeting glances that did nothing to fill his aching heart. How could something so beautiful be so cold and cruel? He was worthy of something as beautiful as love, right? His throat tightened, leaving him unable to breathe as he choked on his feelings, shoved them far down, so far they should never see the light of day. This pain of a broken heart he would bear alone. There was something beautiful about his pain, he noticed. He left behind more and more rose petals as they traveled on. Even in places he did not find all that lovely, were the colors of life degrading. Okay. Actually, yeah, we're almost done. Sorry, guys. Had rain always been so tragically beautiful? Argenti did not know, not as the sky wept upon his body as he lay there, staring up at the gray skies. He liked to think that they were weeping for him, mourning the loss of another follower of the beauty. He coughed and choked on his own blood, unable to hear anything, not even the rain hitting his silver armor. His emerald gaze grew hazy as he recalled what had led up to this point, tears stinging his eyes as he too wept, realizing now that he had gone after something that could not fill the void in his heart. Fair soprano, Fair soprano, he spoke, kneeling down on one knee. He head bowed lest he stutter. Pain shot up his throat as he coughed, nearly doubling over as at last a bouquet of roses drenched in blood, thorns piercing his hands as he caught them, came pouring out of his mouth. Blood, crimson red as the roses that now tore at his throat, tearing him apart from the inside out. You were Another cough, another rose, as bloody as the bouquet, if not more so. The most beautiful thing I ever did see. The roses fell from his hand as the soprano stared at him, her gaze unchanging as she looked from him as he finally glanced up, his eyes weary. There was not much time for him now. You know full well that the journey of the followers of beauty must remain a solitary one night. This is Adrilla's divine punishment for falling off the path. How could Adrilla be so cruel? Argenti ceased to think as he lay a hand over his heart, his mouth falling open as he coughed again, blood-soaked roses laying in a halo around him. How could something so beautiful be so cruel? Some say that you can find the place where a night of beauty lays fallen, forever preserved amongst the tangles and brambles of roses, more fair and more red than blood. Some who have navigated their way through the field of sharp thorns claim that the night lays tangled amongst the branches of the rose bush, roses blooming from his mouth, across his face, the petals hiding the place of a heartbroken man. How beautifully cruel. What? Snap. Oh my goodness. Whoa, okay. That was a lot. I was not expecting that. Whoa, my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm winded because that was a lot to take in, and that was like a lot to read. Like, OMG, like what? And then the end, he died? What? I didn't see that coming. But it was really good. It was very, like, it was beautiful. It was beautifully written. Yeah. Kudos to Katrina Impact and all the other authors of today's fanfics. They were great. I loved them all. I'm probably going to end up reading these in whatever spare time I have, which is few and far between, but you know, a win is a win somewhere. If you stuck around this long, I'm surprised. I didn't think you had the retention to be here for as long as you are. If you didn't, you won't be able to hear me say this, so loser. I'm sorry, guys.